Hey YouTube, this is the factory at the Eagle's Nest. We're here with Bro C3 at another continuation of the pickup game, the G40 pickup game. We're at the beginning of turn 6 with Germany here. Bro C3 has bought a fighter, a tactical bomber, 2 strategic bombers, and 3 artillery. He's going in a couple battles here. He's going into Denmark with these 2 infantry and 2 tanks, and the 2 infantry and 2 artillery. The reason why they're split up is these guys over here came on those transports, so those cannot retreat. Also, he took his entire Air Force into Sea Zone 112, and that's battle boarded right here. And then he's going into Rostov with 2 infantry and 2 artillery from the Ukraine. So those are his attacks he's going in on. We're going to go ahead and roll those up, and we'll see what happens when we come back. All right, we're here with the end of turn 6 with Germany. All of his attacks went really well. His Rostov attack, he didn't lose a single unit. His Denmark attack, he lost a couple of infantry. But his attack into Sea Zone 112 there, I only took out 2 planes, and he took out my entire force in a one-turn sweep, so that went very poorly for me. It's a dice game. The dice definitely were not there for me, and were definitely there for him. So that didn't go as planned, but it is what it is. He put everything into Western Germany besides his bombers. He put it into Germany, and he moved some guys into Holland there, put some units down into France, and put one guy down into southern France, just so it's not a walk-on. But other than that, though, pretty much kept the stuff where it was. He's looking pretty good here on the left-hand side, of course, towards France, but his Russian front is looking pretty thin. But I'm sure he'll potentially address that once it comes time to, I suppose. But we will go ahead and do Soviet Union's turn and see what happens. All right, at the beginning of turn 6 here with the Soviet Union. About 4 mechanized infantry, 1 regular infantry, and 3 tanks. The attacks that went on here, I went into Rostov with 4 infantry. Looks like 3 artillery, 2 fighters, and a tactical bomber. 2 infantry and 2 tanks, I believe, went into Ukraine. 4 infantry into Western Ukraine. 2 infantry into Belarus. And 6 infantry and 3, 4, 5 tanks into Archangel. All that stuff came from Smolensk, Bryansk, and Russia. So we just kind of expanded out from those 3 there. And then over here, we took the infantry from Amur and brought them down into Manchuria to do the walk-on. So that's the attacks that we're doing. And we'll come back once those are done, and once we do the non-combat. At the end of turn 6 here with the Soviet Union, all our attacks went very well. I only lost 1 unit in Ukraine. It was a unit in Rostov, and the rest of the stuff were walk-ons. So I moved all that stuff around there. And then I moved the guys down from this one here. I'm not going to try to pronounce it down to here. Moved an infantry over here to encircle the Japanese so we get any free stuff. And then brought the one guy from up over here down to Amur. And then I guess they took their 1 tank from Ethiopia and brought it up to Egypt. So that's all the moves that the Russians did. They made a big turn of events here for money. They went up 8 and brought Germany down 8 for IPC tracker. So that'll be a big swing here come next turn for the Russians. So now we'll do Japan's turn and see what happens with Japan. At the beginning of turn 6 with Japan, Bro C3 brought 3 tanks, a mechanized infantry, a tactical bomber, 2 infantry, and a transport. He's going in pretty heavy here in China. What I mean by pretty heavy, just about everywhere he can. I don't necessarily remember what came from where. It's been a while, but I'll just pan on here and kind of show you what went where. I don't necessarily remember what came from where, to be honest.
The ball came from Shensi.
And then, oh yeah, you're right. A good chunk of them all came from Shensi there. But he brought all the stuff from Kwangtung into Guangxi there. Let's go ahead going into Amur and going into Manchuria with a bombardment shot there. Then he took his fleet here, broke it up, went into Midway and to Wake, and then took his fighter over here to take out my transports. So that's what Japan did this turn, pretty much going pretty aggressive, which is pretty common here. So pretty much everything here is in the one frame that Japan did. So we'll roll all these battles up here and come back when they're all done. All right, we have the end of turn 6 here with Japan. Bro C3, I believe, won every single battle. I didn't take too many units out here in Japan, in China here, and it was pretty lengthy. So again, my memory does not serve me of what got lost where. I know the one thing that was kind of cost is I took out a plane in the Manchuria attack because he kept his artillery so he could actually take out the territory. But other than that, they went pretty much like you would expect. He put a couple of units here in Kiangsi, a couple down here in Kwangtung, and put a unit or two over here in mainland Japan. And here's what it looks like that the two fleets gonna go in on Hawaii, I assume, next turn. So if you pan out here, that's what the whole Pacific side looks like here with Japan. So they finally were successful in pretty much wiping out the Chinese, and the Chinese only have the two territories here. So it'll definitely look a little more, be a little more interesting here in the Pacific now with almost all of China being gone. So we're gonna go into Allied Alley here in a second, and we'll be here next with the Americans. It's beginning of turn 6 here with America. I bought a minor industrial complex, a fighter, a tactical bomber, a battleship, aircraft carrier, and a submarine. I'm electing to not do any combat moves at all. So I'm going to do all non-combat. So I'm going to kind of just pan around and show you what I got going on here. Over on the Pacific side here, I don't really have much of anything. Just some guys here in Hawaii, and a dude in anti-aircraft artillery up there. So I don't got much there. So just going to show that, and then we'll go ahead and do the non-combat moves. We're here at the end of turn 6 with America. America moved everything from 101 and 106, and all the infantry and support units that were on the transports moved them down here to C-Zone 91. That's what this card down here is, and they actually all landed here on to Morocco. All the land units landed on Morocco, which is card 4. And this is card 8, which is all the naval units. That's 2 battleships, a cruiser, and 10 transports. And other than that, that's about the only non-combat moves I really did. I did put a minor factory in Norway. I guess I moved the transport from 126 to, what was that, 111 over here. And then all my other purchases, naval units, I put over here to try to combat the Japanese fleet that's bound to be on their way. So we will now go to the Chinese turn, which I'm sure will be pretty short and sweet as well. I'll be back once that gets started. Beginning of turn 6 here with the Chinese, I bought 4 infantry, only going into 1 attack, and then there's a walk-on here from Szechuan to Shenxi. And then I will come back when I do my non-combats and move the infantry. And at turn 6 here with the Chinese, they again took the 1 walk-on. They moved everybody, the rest of the guys from Szechuan down to Yunnan, and then put all 4 guys there, which makes 8 infantry in Yunnan there for the Chinese. And now it's going to be the UK's turn. We'll come to you once they get done buying and doing their attacks. It's the beginning of turn 6 here with the UK. For UK Europe, I bought 2 fighters and infantry. And UK Pacific, I bought 3 artillery. On the European side here, I took all my fighters from Scotland, UK, and Normandy, and went in to C-Zone, was it 113 to those 2 transports. He does have the ability to scramble 2 fighters and a tactical bomber. That's why I went in so heavy. Almost missed it again, and almost only brought 1 fighter in there, but probably would have died. And then on the Pacific side here, we took 2 mechanized infantry, 1 infantry, and 1 artillery from Szechuan into Sinkang, I believe it is. And an infantry and a mech from Szechuan into, I can't see what it's called, Hunan, I guess. And the 2 planes down from French Indochina also are joining that battle. So that's the attacks the UK is going in on this round. And we'll come back when those attacks are rolled and the non-combat stuff is moved. On turn 6 here with the UK. On this side of the board here, they did successfully take out the 2 fighters and the tactical bomber, along with the 2 transports in Season 113. They were costing them 5 of their 6 fighters they had, which was not expected. So they landed the remaining fighter in Norway, moved 2 transports from Season 110 down to 105 here, and put 2 infantry and 2 anti-aircraft artillery on this card, which is actually in Normandy. And then they just brought their infantry and fighter up from Egypt, infantry to infantry and tank, infantry to Alexandria, and the tank to Tobruk. Then on the Pacific side, the attacks went well. Took Sinkang and Hunan, left Szechuan a lot more open than I'd like though, and then put the 3 artillery here in French Indochina. Landed the planes back there as well. And then over on this side, I put the infantry and 2 fighters into Normandy. So that would be the UK's turn. And we'll go now to Italy's turn. We're at the beginning of turn 6 here with Italy. Bro C3 is elected to do no combats. So he just bought a tank and infantry and a destroyer. I'll just put in the frame here all of Italy. So he's got a tank here in Algeria, and then tank and infantry in northern Italy, and the rest are anti-aircraft artillery. So we'll go and see what he does for his non-combat moves. We're at the end of turn 6 here with Italy. For his non-combat, he took the tank and the infantry. Tank from Algeria, infantry from Libya, and moved them all in Tunisia to make one defensive unit there. Then he put his destroyer in Sea Zone 95 and put the infantry and tank up in northern Italy. So we will now go with Anzac in France. Beginning of turn here with Anzac, they're going to buy 2 strategic bombers and an artillery. For the attacks here, I'm going in the walk-on Celebes and the walk-on on the Philippines. And then we're taking everything from Sea Zone 54 and brought it to Wake Island there to try to take out half his Japanese fleet there. And those are the only attacks we went in on, and we'll come back when the rules done. And turn 6 here with Anzac. The walk-ons obviously were successful. I did take out his carrier and one of his planes here, but I was rolling pretty poorly. So he was able to land a tactical bomber onto the Wake Island there, and he was able to save his transport. So that was costly. I mean, I guess I did take out a capital ship, but it was pretty costly. And then I just moved my ships from 62 up to here and put all my 3 buys down here, the only spot they can go. And then over here, I just moved my guys from Tobruk and moved them back to Alexandria since he kind of gave up on Libya. So that is the moves that Anzac did, and we'll come back here with the French. All right, we're at beginning of turn 6 here with the French. They're not going to do any attacks. I'm just going to do their turn live, I guess, because they don't got a whole lot to do. They're going to take this fighter from Tobruk here. This is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and land over there in Gibraltar. We're going to take a couple infantry here and just start to work their way back here. And then up here, they're going to take their cruiser and go 1, 2, and then 3 here into 92. So that's all the French are going to do. And that would be the end of turn 6. Right, we're here at the beginning of turn 6 with Germany. Bro C3 brought 3 bombers, a fighter, an infantry, and a destroyer. Only going in on 1 attack. That is here in Normandy. So we battle boarded that. He has 6 heavy bombers. Looks like 3 tanks. Artillery, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 infantry going in, and I have. I'm not going to go over, I guess, the exact numbers, but suffice to say, he's going in a little light, even to his own admission. But we're going to see what happens down here in Normandy. So we'll be back when the rules are done. And at turn 7 for Germany. The Normandy invasion went well. We both rolled pretty poorly, really. So it ended up where he had 2 tanks left. He lost everything else. He did not lose any of those heavy bombers. I was hoping he was going to lose a few of those, but he did it. So he took Normandy and then put everything else he bought into Western Germany, moved some stuff into Holland, moved some stuff from Denmark down as well, and then he placed one destroyer here in Season 93 in the Mediterranean. So that's what it ended up looking like here at the end of the turn. And we'll go with the Soviet Union turn 7 here in a minute. All right, we got turn 7 here with the Soviet Union. I bought 2 mechanized infantry, 2 artillery, and 5 tanks. And the attacks been going on here. I'm going from Tobruk to Libya with the mechanized infantry for the walk-on, from Ukraine to Bessarabia for a walk-on, Western Ukraine to Eastern Poland for the walk-on, and Belarus to Baltic States for the walk-on, as well as everything from Archangel into Leningrad for another walk-on. And then going on with the infantry from Tunguska, I guess, into here, and then all the planes from Russia are coming into there as well. So those are all the attacks the Russians are doing. We'll come back when those rolls are done. Right here with the end of turn 7 here with Russia. Obviously all their walk-ons went successful. The only actually rolling battle they had was over here in China, and they lost 1 infantry for it. So I put the 2 artillery and 1 tank in Moscow, 3 tanks here in Volgograd, 1 tank, and 2 mechanized down here in Ukraine. So we're getting close to having all the original territories left, except for, of course, Japan's taking a little chunk down there. But we're at the end here of turn 7 here with the USSR, and I believe we're going to call it a night here. And we'll begin with Japan probably another night.